Good afternoon, esteemed judges and respected panel members, and a very warm greeting to everyone listening. I am very honored to be here today to be presenting one of my innovations called Journey Through Palestine, Roll Your Adrenaline. I am Engku Nafatia Shwada binti Engku Afandi, and alongside my two lovely supervisors who has helped me through this project, that is Madam Siti Zari Sofia binti Abu Bakar and Miss Nur Hafiza Ami. So my product is an educational board game that is called Journey Through Palestine, Roll Your Adrenaline, that uses an interactive play to encourage discussion, empathy, and reflection on social and cultural issues. It is a combination of learning with gameplay that creates an engaging and interactive educational experience. So the problem statement to my product is, despite the growing accessibility of digital media, the voices and lived experiences of marginalized communities remain underrepresented in mainstream narratives, especially in news, articles, journals. We often see the conflict that is happening in Palestine, but not really the cultural norms, the social norms, or the lived experiences lived by Palestinians themselves. And additionally, there is a lack of interactive tools that foster deeper engagement, empathy, and a cultural understanding. Therefore, there is a need for innovative, accessible, and engaging platforms. Innovation concept was inspired by a 3-episode podcast series on YouTube called Our Palestinian Voices, produced by the main author, that is me. And in these episodes, I talk about different people, different Palestinian people, about how they suffer, about the conflict that is happening. But despite the conflict that is happening, I also talk about how they come back up from it. So this educational board game was created as an interactive learning tool or a complementary learning tool that drives players to explore the culture, social norms, and real-life stories of Palestinians. So the functionality and applicability of the innovation is the board game has multiple components, including game pieces, game tokens, size, and 4 categories of game cards. We have action cards, trivia cards, story cards, and OO cards. So each component has its own role in creating a safe and accessible space for players to develop emotional awareness and experience an alternative perspective beyond their everyday lives. So the novel contributions, it introduces a newly approached board game that is designed for audiences who want to know more about Palestine and its culture, and it addresses every element about Palestine, including their culture and social norm in a game setting. Because I know that not many people like to listen to podcasts, not many people like to watch the news, to read articles or journals for hours. So this is an alternative medium that I created so that these people who don't like podcasts, to watch the news, to read articles or journals, they can play the board game, they can learn about Palestinian in a fun way. So the impact and usability of this board game is it makes it an interactive learning tool suitable for schools, families, and educators as a discussion, reflective, and teaching tool for kids. It can also be used to teach children and even adults about empathy and to experience the lives lived by Palestinians. I believe that we as human beings, we need to have empathy for other people, for us to really understand what other people are experiencing, especially marginalized communities. Moving on to the prototype of the board game, first we have the box of the board game and the instructions. The front cover is the map of Palestine, and at the back of the cover is all the instructions, the rules that you need to understand to play the game. Next is the map of the board game and also the items in the box, that is the dice, the game components, the game tokens, and also the story cards to play the game. So next is the objectives. First is to develop an educational board game as a learning tool to explore the culture, social norms, and real-life stories of Palestinians. And the second is to highlight how game-based learning can function as an alternative medium for cultural education and critical thinking. Next is the commercial potentials. First is the primary target market, that is Malaysian who wants to learn more about the history, culture, and social norm of Palestinians, and educational institutions across Malaysia with similar interests. Second is the extended market, people who around the world who are interested in this newly approached board game. So the sustainable development goals is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, and to ensure inclusive and equitable equality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, as it can be utilized by all levels. So in conclusion, this unique innovation of an educational board game can foster empathy and challenge simplified media narratives. It also encourages audiences to engage with culture, identity, and resilience in a more interactive and meaningful way. And potentially, it seeks to establish a collaboration or partnership with educational institutions for their creative lessons or co-curricular activities. I really hope that by my innovation, it can reach to a more informed and compassionate society to help amplify Palestinian voices. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention.